what is your take on the use of multiple longevity drugs together? For example, metformin, DHEA, LDN, rapamycin versus just one of them. Like I mentioned before, I mean, I feel that there's potential synergy between longevity drugs. There could also be the opposite, of synergy. They could actually work against each other. It's really hard to do trials on combination. It's hard enough to do trials on single therapies. It's even harder to do them on combinations. A lot of what we know about combinations comes from like anecdotal evidence or what we think might happen if you start combining metformin, LDN, rapamycin, and things like that. My experience is that typically they're additive. Typically, I think if you add metformin with DHEA, there was a trial called the TRIIM trial, TRIIM, Thymus Regeneration Trial, where they use metformin, DHEA, and growth hormone. I'm not a big fan of growth hormone, but the trial seemed to find that those three combination seem to have some benefit in terms of methylation age, biological age clocks and things like that. And there's an expansion of the trial going on. I don't have any involvement with them, but in general, it seems like most of these therapies tend to be additive. Occasionally, they can work against each other, but I'm a lot more optimistic in terms of their additive benefit. So, but you have to be responsible with their use. I take rapamycin, MitoQ, NAD, quercetin, dasatinib, a variety of different supplements with LDN interfere. I kind of answered this one already, but again, there could be some duplication in there. There could be some overlap in there. I'm more optimistic on combinations. I take several therapies myself in combination. I think the answer to longevity will only go through combinations. Which combinations is up to speculation, unfortunately, right now. What we need is more data on which combinations work better. The ITP that I talked about, the mouse trials, to their credit, what they do try to do, they take some of the more promising longevity drugs like rapamycin, and then they do combination trials. If you take rapamycin with acarbose, for example, I think that increases lifespan even more than anyone alone. But again, if you talk to people like Brian Kennedy, he's a lot more pessimistic about, he's a researcher in the longevity field. He's a lot more pessimistic about speculation at this point. I personally suspect that LDN and rapamycin will work really well together because I think they fill each other's gaps. What the appropriate dosing, what the optimal dosing is anybody's guess right now. Nobody in the longevity community is even really talking about LDN, let alone talking about combining LDN with rapamycin and other things.